Welcome everyone to the XR News. The XR News is produced by educators in VR, and we have been here since 2018, bringing you the news from across the metaverse. And today is one of our favorite events all month long. On the third Wednesday of every month, we have the XR News Innovation Spotlight with our incredible team, with Maxwell, McGee, Chris Madsen, and Dr. Tom Furness, considered the grandfather of VR. We are so glad that you are here to join us in Engage XR, where we produce the XR News every Wednesday. In addition to the XR News show, we also have the amazing XR News Med Health Edition with Rachel D on the first Wednesday of every month, and then on the third we have the Innovation Spotlight, and in between we bring you the news from across the metaverse so that you can stay in touch and know what's going on no matter where you are in the metaverse. Our show is recorded live, and then it is saved up to YouTube for posterity, so you can see all of our lovely mistakes and problems and fun and errors and all the joy that we have producing these shows in VR. Again, this event is produced by educators in VR, and you can find all of the links to the news, articles, pictures, and everything that we have here will be found on our social media channels. We could not do the XR News without the help of all of our amazing sponsors and team members, including the Reinhardt Foundation, Girls Team Institute, Bridgemakers, Vertex Form 3D, Cadets Metaverse and Virtual World Society, and the Immersive Learning Research Network, known as iLearn. We also want to thank Engage XR for their amazing support of this ongoing process that we do. And now I'm going to hand it over to our wonderful team with Chris Madsen, with Maxwell, McGee, and Dr. Tom Furness. It is all you.
Cool. Do you want to take it away, Max?
Yeah, let's do it. Hello, everybody, and happy Wednesday. Wednesday, yes. I always forget what day of the week it is. I'm sure anybody who is busy, whether it be in the inside or outside of the metaverse, knows what I'm talking about when you forget what day of the week it is. It is so wonderful to see everybody here for the XR News Innovation Spotlight show. We've got a few things on the docket that we're going to be going over today, starting off with Chris Madsen and Optima. I believe, Chris, we have a guest from Optima here with us today, which is incredibly exciting. So special thanks to Dr. Walker for being here. Why don't you come on up?
Come on over, Dr. Walker.
Yeah.
Good to see you.
Appreciate you having me.
So let me introduce Dr. Walker. So Ryan Walker has been working in VR for quite some time. They were one of our earliest partners in the educational space, and something that Optima does that is so unique. You know, generally speaking, when we're talking about XR in education, we're talking about solo experiences, apps. Optima has really been leading the charge for a long time now in training up educators to be specialists in live virtual reality experiences, right? So when their students are logging in, sometimes multiple times a day, they're meeting with live instructors doing their course experiences, I should say. So
right.
We've been perfecting that process now with Optima for many, many, many years, and they have literally thousands of students experiencing this all the time.
On a
so
daily
Dr.
basis.
Walker, if you don't mind maybe introducing your title and tell us a little bit about what you do specifically at Optima.
Oh, sure. So, okay, so my PhD is in curriculum and instruction, and my research has always been in experiential learning. So, as Chris mentioned, I jumped into VR real early, seeing how we could use VR to really continue research in spatial learning, where field trips were becoming more and more difficult for schools to go on. And for the most part, you can't take a group of kids from Mississippi to the Great Barrier Reef, or you can't take, a couple of kids from Colorado on a field trip to the moon, but you can in VR. And so I really started looking at how these experiential learning opportunities in VR paralleled those of IRL. And so one of the biggest components of that is social learning theory, and having people together experiencing things together, and then allowing them to this discourse, allowing them to talk about it and shape their memories, shape their understanding, feel the emotions of the locations, like really just engage their whole brain in the activities.
Yeah, that emotion plays a big role in learning actually too. It helps locks in memory and whatnot. I remember one
Absolutely.
specific adventure you took me on where you played the role of an immigrant who's literally having to go around his house and gather up the specific, only a
Right.
limited amount of belongings to take on the ship to come to America. And you have to
Yep.
literally go through that process. Who even considers that? I got to be in that role, in that person's shoes to do that. Absolutely
Right.
mind-blowing.
Right. Well, and if we have an opportunity today, maybe I can take you to a coral reef where I built out this experience for live instruction. So a teacher's in there with 20, 25 kids. They're collecting live data. The data they collect mimics a 2023 bleaching event in the coral or in the Caribbean. And so kids are actually taking data. And you want to talk about emotion. They come back to that same reef year after year, and they see the breakdown of the coral and the collapse of the habitat. It really pulls on your heartstrings.
Wow. So tell me, Dr. Walker, it seems like every time I blink, you're talking about new types of lessons that you've implemented and engaged. Do you have like a team that's what they're fully dedicated to, is just building content?
Yes. In fact, we do. And my role, I've taken the lead as the science subject matter expert. But I've also, with my background, I've really kind of forged out a niche where, with the other subject matter experts, we're really pushing the envelope as far as pedagogically. How are we using the platform? How are we moving away from this idea of read it and regurgitate it to, hold on a second, you experience it, you talk about it, you reflect on it, so there's a lot of back and forth that we do with the experiences. But everything is built off of what is truly an experience. You go and you do something. Like you said, in the immigrant story, you had to select the items you were going to bring with you, and later on you realize that really you can only have one thing. But I don't know, spoiler alert.
So Dr. Walker, another question I have is, I've had the privilege of going to one of your live on the spot trainings, physical trainings, to get the actual educators trained on how to do this in a virtual environment. And it was a very intensive multi-day workshop, essentially, to even get educators up to that place where they're feeling comfortable in environments like this, learning the technology, learn how to operate the headsets, learning host controls, the check boxes just go on and on and on. How many educators do you have trained up today that are literally meeting with students in virtual environments on a regular basis?
Over 250. I mean, gosh,
over
and if we think about
250?
our other schools, and we're and going into Dallas, it's climbing daily.
It's intense.
In fact,
intense training, man. It's wild.
Well,
I mean,
and the interesting thing about that, though, is a classroom trained teacher. It's amazing how a lot of the classroom management techniques apply in VR. Like, for example, if Maxwell over here talking to his buddy, I can just come stand next to him, and just my presence will make him kind of focus on his behavior and bring it back in line. So there's a lot of nonverbal cues that teachers know that works in their classroom that transfers into VR. But the fact that you can lock someone in their chair and mute them is that's just a bonus.
I'm tickled by the fact that you're using a spatial technique to control behavior. That's so cool.
Right. Yeah, totally. But as far as the technique goes, really, it's about you get the teacher comfortable with a couple procedures. Like, first thing you do is when you invite students into your session, you have your session settings stripped down to nothing. They don't have access to the 3D pen. They don't have access to anything. You release powers with the instructions. It's kind of like inviting the kids into your classroom and you have all the materials out on their desk before you give them instructions. That just it doesn't work.
Yeah. Now,
yeah.
I know that we are sensitive to time. Max has some things he's going to be going
Okay.
over. Tom
Yeah.
has some things as well. So, and man, I like literally want to just sit right now with you and just chat for an hour about what a day-to-day life is of a student at Optima and talk way more in depth. And maybe we'll get a chance to do that sometime.
Yeah, for sure.
Max, so we do have the opportunity now to, I'm just going to turn the keys over to Dr. Walker and say, let's go to that coral reef or whatever environment he wants to take us to. Is now a good time to do that? Or do you want to do your piece first and then we go on the field trip? Leave that
Chris,
up to you.
Listen, I trust my keys with no one but Dr. Walker. So I think it would be a great opportunity. You cannot tell us about an immersive coral reef experience and then not bring us there. Let's do it. Let's dive in. Dr. Walker,
I'll just load the content file.
Show us yours.
All right.
Let's go
Let's
for
do
it.
All right. I hope you all brought
I feel
your
like I need to hold my breath if we're going underwater here.
I'm gonna hold my ready.
Let's see. I'm gonna load the one. So typically when I build these experiences, I have designed them so that only the host, they all have host only buttons. But I'm gonna take you guys to the experience that you will be able to see the buttons. So yeah. So just please don't push
should
buttons.
we not? Don't push buttons. No push buttons,
Do not
everybody.
push
I know
buttons.
it's tempting.
No
Everybody wants to
right.
push a button.
Yeah.
I know how it goes. I'm one of those
All right.
button pushers. So
It'll go dark and then we'll be back together.
all right. Everyone's looking sharp in their scuba outfits.
This is awesome.
All right, looks like we're in, so I'm going to go ahead and summon some folks. Here we go.
Using the host controls, I love it.
All right, yeah. All right, so if y'all just kind of spread out a little bit. So essentially, if you guys can see this wall of buttons kind of behind me here, you'll see that it's split up into chapters. And there's this really annoying bald guy in a blue shirt that pops in and talks about all the different chapters. But essentially, we do an introduction to the reef, talking about how diverse the ecosystem is. And so people are looking around and they don't really see how diverse it is. But then we take a hop off the edge and we go and we see the healthy reef. So let's just go ahead and kind of see what this looks like.
Hello, and welcome to the Caribbean. All right. So
and
it's a little
I'm
bit
going to go ahead and
overcast,
summon
but,
everybody
it's still
again.
quite warm. Being down here close to the equator, it stays warm year-round. Well,
Yeah,
but
so-
what you might not
so
notice is
This
just
guy
by
right
looking
here,
around up here, we
this
can
is
hear the
essentially
birds,
so
and
the
we know
teacher
there's
can load the
organisms.
students in
Just
here,
below us
and the teacher
is
doesn't
one of
have
the
to
most
deliver any other
diverse
content.
ecosystems on the
This
planet.
guy kind of
And
sets the whole
what a lot
stage,
of
and so
people
the
don't
teacher is just doing
realize
classroom
is that
management.
It provides so many
But let's
services
kind of
to
skip this
humans
guy,
and, well,
and
to
let's just
nature.
jump over the edge right here.
In
There's
fact,
a spot we
it
can
acts
walk
as
over
a
right here.
nursery for little
There we go.
fish that
right
then
here,
go
guys.
out into deeper waters and become,
Just
part of
teleport
our
yourself
fishing
or walk
industry
yourself
and
right
keep
off the
Yeah,
edge
just
here.
walk off the edge.
Or
All right, I'm
teleport
gonna
on
skip
over.
ahead, so Dr. Walker will show
right.
up. There we go. All right, so if we walk around, essentially what the students do is they come and they see a reef system, right? And I've actually skipped ahead. We're in chapter 2 right now, but where there was a bleaching event. But if you see right here, there's a button where we can push the grid area. So students can come in with their 3D pen and they mark where there's healthy coral, right? And then they're actually collecting live data. And then they have another group of students where they're collecting fish. They're collecting images. They're using their cameras to take pictures of fish, document the biodiversity. And then it follows this narrative that of as the progression, we're going to see the breakdown of the reef. So I'm going to actually just turn it back on to play.
Folks,
Um,
we have returned.
and I apologize for
and
this guy that talks so
unfortunately,
much.
Well, there's been a bleaching event. So we've had a major heat wave, and for about 6 weeks, ocean temperatures have stayed more than a degree above normal. That may not sound like much, but to corals, it is extreme. Look carefully and you'll see that the corals are pale, losing their color. This is bleaching. It's caused when corals expel their tiny little algae that gives them energy. It gives them the ability to capture light from the sun.
I'm gonna pause this guy just for the sake of time, but I'm gonna advance. So, and you can see we have Dr. Shelley over here. Dr. Shelley is our marine biologist, and the students can interact with her and ask her everything from predator-prey relationships to, well, gosh, let's talk to her.
You need to press and hold the interact button to speak to me.
Sorry. Hey, Dr. Shelley, could you tell us a little bit about how coral is the base of the marine ecosystem?
Hey there. Coral is like the apartment building for the Reef neighborhood. It provides the structure and shelter that many sea creatures need to live. Hide
right, and so
and
students can interact with her and
coral,
ask different questions.
Food.
But typically a teacher would divide the kids into groups and they could collect data. In fact, I was in with a group of students before and I just took a snapshot of their data. So let me go ahead and load that and I'll show you what the kids came up with, which I was pretty impressed with. Load original location. Yeah, here we go. So these are the pictures the kids took. Let's see, I'll just bring it out here. Yeah, so here's the pictures the kids took of the different organisms they saw. And I had one teacher have them draw out like a predator-prey relationships. And then these are the data they collected. So the healthy reef, they used their 3D pen and they marked the grid, and then they made a snapshot of all the 3D pen, and so then they shrunk it down and placed it on this grid. And then this is after the first bleaching event, and this is after the final bleaching event. And so they actually see the breakdown of the reef, and they notice that the fish start to leave. And but one of the things we do is we really frame it in the positive, right? Like we talk about how, well, gosh, in chapter 4, the students collect samples of live coral that they take back to the lab that they cultivate so that they can bring them back and plant them the following year to breed stronger, more heat-resistant coral. But gosh, this is enough of me talking. Do we got any questions, or you want to see another? Want to go to the moon?
Guys, you got questions or raise of hands? Do we want to go quickly to the moon? I know we'll have to make it quick if we go moon, or do you have some? Or, yep. She's moon. Like, maybe I want to go to the moon. Anybody have any questions? Feel free to unmute and ask before we leave. And we going good?
Chris, I'll share my contact info.
Oh, great, thank you. I just wanted to know, there's all the updates that are coming out with Engage.
Yes.
Are you going to have, what kind of modifications you're going to have to make to this?
Oh, actually, no modifications. Yeah, this is super simple. Like my content files that I make are like really just clean and like I keep them simple, overly simple.
Mm-hmm. Great.
But to your point, Laurel, old content should work just fine with the new system.
Great.
But but the new system's going to be amazing. We'll talk about that later.
Can't wait. Yes. Yeah. Can't wait. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is amazing.
So Chris, a couple funny stories, or at least an interesting story that I had is y'all. So I taught 7th grade science for years and years and years, and then I made the leap into academia. But I taught photosynthesis like a million times, and one time it was after getting into VR. It was one of the first lessons I taught when I was piloting this technology, and I actually handed the students a molecule of glucose, and I could actually pull one up and load it real quick. But the cool thing was I just handed them a molecule of glucose. And I said, this is really important. This is chemical energy. We can't produce it, but we need it to survive. So we know plants can make it. So let's take what we know about plants and see if we can figure this out. Well, the kids started looking around and they saw water going into the roots, and they saw oxygen coming out of the leaves and carbon dioxide going in. And then oh yeah, here we go. So this is glucose. This is chemical energy, right? And so students were they then realized that, oh, well, I'm going to need 6 of these black carbon things, and those come from carbon dioxide. Well, anyway, it was a 45-minute experience, right? 6 months later, I had another meeting, and one of the students was in there, and I said, hey, Nevaeh, you remember that lesson we did on photosynthesis? And she's like, yeah, Dr. Walker, you guys can come up and grab one if you want. I'm not going to remember that equation, but I do remember we were at the Avebury, and I remember you handed us the glucose, and that was chemical energy, and we figured out it needed 6 carbon dioxides and 6 waters. But the cool thing we found out is that it produced oxygen, and that's what we need to break down glucose. And then all of a sudden, she had this aha moment. She's like, "Whoa, I guess I remembered it." But the most powerful aspect of that is we went someplace different. Like, in learning in that 45-minute block, we approached her brain in a more natural way that absorbs information. She was literally, the experience was parallel to that of like having lunch with her grandmother. She remembers what shirt she had on. She remembers what her grandma ordered. She remembers where they were. It's effortless, right? She was able to recall the experience and effortlessly recreate the content just based off of memory. And that just leverages the power of learning in this environment. And the fact that it was social. She knew she was in there with her friend, Mia Molina, and they were joking about the water molecules or something. There was humor. There was all this emotion that was tied to it that just reinforced those concepts. I'm sorry, Chris, I could geek out on this stuff.
I know we could go, and you're getting my brain. We need so much more research around experiential educations in VR with social aspects. We don't have enough of the social part of that, and what kind of difference that makes from doing something solo in a VR environment.
Well,
so much to learn there.
And at the foundation of Optima, like when we first started Optima, I was doing research where I was observing students during COVID in the remote classroom, the checkerboard of faces. And one of the things I realized is the thing that always drew the kids' attention back to the screen, it wasn't the teacher, it wasn't PowerPoint, it was any time one of their peers was talking. And that just made me realize that these kids are lonely. Right? Like, we need a social platform where they can explore the content, and well, gosh, I don't think it was that long after you and I started talking.
Yeah.
Vincent, yeah, totally.
All right, guys, I know I'm worried about time. It's like 27 after right now. Should we jump into your section, Max, and get that ball rolling? I see Laurel going, yes.
Absolutely.
Hey, but real quick, thank you so much, Dr. Walker.
You're welcome.
So much we can learn from you and your experience, and just that it's always such a pleasure to hang out with you in virtual and physical world.
Appreciate it.
And we want you back.
I'll share my contact info.
Yeah, we want more. We're greedy. We love OptimaEd.
Awesome.
Please, more. Yeah, please.
Absolutely.
We'll put all your contact. Just give us the contact information. We'll share it all around. Thank you.
Okay. Sounds good.
Thanks.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Dr. Walker. We really, really appreciate your time and your representation from OptimaEd. It's so amazing to always see your content. And I remember when we used to host Engaged together, the live streamed show. That was really fantastic and a wonderful experience. And those were always such popular shows because of the content that you guys had, which I thought was really fantastic. So thank you for your time today.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate y'all having me.
Absolutely. Now, there are some exciting things that we want to discuss, and that's why I'm so glad that I'm co-hosting this with the one and only Chris Madsen. So, Chris, it's 4.3, correct? That is coming out. Release number 4.3.
Yes.
And there are a number of features that I wanted to talk about and discuss today, and also just to run by you a little bit and see what you can tell us, what you can't. Obviously you can't tell us every single little detail, or maybe you can.
We put the release notes out, so we can just go through that list and talk about what's coming out.
Yeah, absolutely. What I want to start off with, Voice, so being able to utilize a technology that has been utilized to a great extent, especially on cell phones, is voice to text. Engage is going to get a certain version of voice to text. Can you tell us a little bit more about how that works? Because I know with the microphone has to be, unless I'm misunderstanding it, the microphone, your own microphone has to be muted in order to create that voice to text, correct? Is it kind of like a separate button that you have to click?
Yeah, so this is a feature that, oh man, a lot of us have been waiting for a long time, because who loves typing on a keyboard in VR? Not me. Not me. It's a time waster as far as I'm concerned. You can never type quite type. I'm a great typer in real world, but in virtual reality, slow as molasses. I never liked it. So now we've got the ability that on the keyboard, so wherever you need to input text, a website, on your notes in Engage, on a sticky note, etc., or a YouTube search, whatever, you just hit a little microphone on your keyboard that pops up, and it puts you in a zone where nobody can hear you anymore. You can dictate whatever you want. It's going to type it out, and then you hit the send, and it's done. And to other observers, they're going to see a little thing above your head noting that you are in that mode. That might be why they can't hear you, or you're kind of in a little private mode there for a second, but it's going to make that process so much easier.
Absolutely. And I think too that making things easier in VR is also good for people who are introductory beginners to virtual reality, because that is one of the things, especially in enterprise and education, that people have, I don't necessarily want to say complaints. I don't want to use a negative word when they are diving into VR for the first time, but kind of is. It's one of the first complaints.
It's another friction point. Yeah.
It's another friction point, absolutely. And this is significantly easier, because typing in virtual reality is it's tough. It is very tough. Pointing to each individual piece that you are going with, each individual letter can be a pain. And there are a couple more. Oh, sorry. It seems like
I have a question.
Hear you?
Yeah, I have a question. I'm sorry. I wanted to know, one of the things that we've been dreaming of, and this feels like it's on the pathway, is to be able to have live translation to from different languages.
Laurel, I was literally.
It's my soapbox.
No, that's great. I was literally going to say right before you asked your question is, now that we're implementing speech to text, hint, hint, guess what other things that's going to be able to open up for us. So not prepared to make all those announcements today, Laurel, but
it's a step.
It's the path. It's the path.
Yeah.
And yeah.
And I do appreciate that about Engage, is that it's always on the path forward, and a lot of different apps and softwares have gone by the wayside, very sadly, but Engage still thriving, especially because they're giving the people what they want, is the stuff that we are really excited about. One of the things I want to talk about is an integration with, and Chris, forgive me, what you had texted me me I wanted to see, can we make that announcement? If not, totally okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Do you want to do it, or you want me to do it?
You know what? I want you to do it, because you are engaged. You are engaged.
So as you know, we've been running the AI models, Llama and OpenAI, ChatGPT, right, for quite some time. We started with OpenAI 3 years ago because it was the obvious choice back then. We then added Llama to that because we were such close partners with Meta. Happy to announce we are now bringing Gemini into the mix on Friday, and Claude, Anthropic.
Woo-hoo.
So I think if you've all been paying attention as educators, Anthropic's making a lot of really cool moves in the education space right now, and we're excited to be able to support that system now. So yay, that's going to be exciting.
Absolutely love that. And with the new AI, I do want to bring up that especially with the AI character builder and building the new AIs, one of the features is going to be that the AIs can see. Is that a good way to describe it? The AIs can actually see?
Yeah. Well, the AIs get, so the AI can currently right now out of the box see through our eyes. So if I ask my AI assistant, hey, AI, I'm looking at this chart. Can you please explain to me what I'm seeing? You'll hear the little sound of a camera go off, ching, and that information's getting sent to the AI. The AI is processing, and it will let you know and respond to what you're looking at. Well, it's sort of limited when you're just looking through your avatar's eyes. So we're now adding AI vision cameras that you can play. It's an IFX. You can place these cameras wherever you would like. So for example, we had those whiteboards up earlier with all of that information. Imagine in a scene, I want to just permanently place one of these AI cameras that's always looking at the whiteboard, right? Oh, right there. Thanks, Ryan. Looking at that information. So the camera's here, always looking at that board. So anytime I make changes on the board and say, hey, respond to the whiteboard, it's just going to respond to that particular camera, and it's going to tell you what's happening on the whiteboard. And you can place multiple cameras throughout the scene that the AI can respond to. So that's cool.
That is very cool. It's called the Vision Request Camera, correct?
That's right.
Okay. I keep teleporting all over the place. I'm basically trying to spook them, but I'm watching too many Queso plays horror games live streams lately. So the Vision Request Camera is very, very cool, and Engage continues to work on all these different innovation concepts that are integrated in the software. I absolutely love it. Going to be an update to the McGee API model, correct? Which is very important.
And Laurel and I talk about this all the time. It's like we've been watching that evolution of 3D model generations getting better and better all the time. And, every once in a while you'll create a horse that might have a fifth leg or whatever. We've seen the progress as it gets better. So again, we're putting another update. We use McGee for those 3D generations. Big update there. Models are going to look better. We're just going to continue. This is an ongoing process for the next year. We're just going to see all this stuff getting better and better and better over time as our partners evolve their capabilities. The other one, Max, is I don't know how many of you have played with some of the latest Chat GPT image creations. I want to say about 2 months ago, we finally reached that stage where we get perfect text, and we get lots of text, and everything has improved to the point where it's like actually useful to create a chart on the fly and things like that. So that also, we're updating all of that as well. So that will be part of the out of the box capability for your AIs as well. So images are going to look fantastic as of Friday.
100%, and images and image creation is so important. We actually, in the last show last month, did that, where we were kind of previewing a little bit of that image creation. And ChatGPT is has gotten really excellent at creating images and being more accurate, especially depending on the prompt. I mean, it used to depend on the accuracy of the prompt, but now I've noticed, I've kind of tested it a little bit and said, what if I'm a little more vague? And I'm still very impressed with ChatGPT, so especially with that integration with Engage, that's very, very helpful. So we've got McGee, we've got an updated OpenAI image model. As far as the other AI side of things, you also will have the ability to search for a specific custom AI character in the AI builder, and when loading the AI character into a session. That I did want to bring up because there are a number of content creators that I've noticed who are going to need to build a lot of AI characters in a scene. A lot of AI characters in a scene, because each one is specific. So the example that I had showed, I believe not last month's show, but the month before that show, I had different AI characters in the medical simulations. Those medical simulations were designed to show others what it was like to step in the shoes of someone who has autism, someone who has a left brain stroke, someone who is in a wheelchair, and there are different AI characters that help kind of play out that scene. So this is very cool that it seems like the AI characters in general are getting a very big buff. Do you notice that a lot of people utilize the AI characters, because what I saw, especially when I worked at Engage, is that was one of the biggest requests. I was so ecstatic when custom built AI characters came into the fold.
I would say that's still definitely one of the top use cases is Engage is building AI assistants, characters, role playing, all of those things.
Absolutely. And we also have the launch of the Pro licenses. So this is going to be a new license type. It's going to be able to be purchased on the website in order to replace Plus. It is going to provide access to AI Character Builder, Persistent Sessions, and Cloud File Manager. That is unbelievably.
Yes, we've been hearing this for a long time. You know, Plus didn't have all the features that people really needed. So we're like, you know what? Let's just redo our whole pricing model system and everything. So now all, like you said, all Pro users will now get the Cloud File Manager. And if you guys don't know what that is, I don't know if Ryan's still here. He might have had to have bailed to his next gig, but it is a staple for educators. Anybody really doing anything in a space like this, that ability to drag and drop 3D models on the web, drag and drop 3D models, videos, audio, all kinds of different things to just simply then access your tablet and bring those into existence like you saw Brian doing today. It's essential to really do what you want to do in a place like this.
Yeah. The cloud manager is critical for really building content.
And you get AI, and you get.
Manta
I should have looked up. That's hilarious. And the fact that you also get the basic AI builder as well as a pro user. That's just awesome. We're gonna see some cool stuff. I love seeing what people create with all of these tools.
Yes, and a lot of the educators, I notice this is big for them. This is very big for them because now they have the opportunity to bring it into their classroom where otherwise they might not have. They it might be that the school was, didn't necessarily have the capability to bring Engage into the classroom, but now individual educators can do so. I think that is incredibly powerful. I think that is going to be unbelievably popular. Another thing that's going to be helpful for educators as well is the spatial recordings, which can automatically go from session to session, which that is very, very cool. I'm sure extremely helpful for educators in training. Chris, can you tell us a little bit more about this?
So in the past, and by the way, the quality of those recordings is being upgraded as well, which is huge. But now it used to be that after every time we would want to move, like if I'm spatially recording everything that's happening right here, if we were to move to another environment, another location, you'd have to stop that spatial recording and start a new one in the next location. Now it does it all automatically. It will automatically stop it here and restart it when you get to the other space. So it's a push the button and forget about it. You go from multiple spaces, you're going to get a spatial recording throughout each, and it will spit those out in different spatial packages, one for each of the environments you visit. And the importance of that is, you'll hear more about this in our next, not this release, but the next, is when we move to a scene-directed experience editor. You'll be able to take those videos and just plug them into the scene editor to have those, like Ryan's go, yes, this is what we want. And be able to just plug those in like little packages right into those scenes. So it'll be cool. But yeah, that's a nice feature. I'm glad I don't have to stop and start and stop and start and try to remember to do that each and every time. It's going to make it much easier.
Absolutely. I do love the fact that it's going to be recorded and saved live to your device. So you don't have to, you're not going to lose that data, which is very, very amazing with the spatial recordings. And I think that is very important specifically for learning, training, for a lot of different purposes, but learning and training is going to be huge for those improved spatial recordings. And just kind of checking the time here as well, because I want to let our legendary friend Tom to talk about something very exciting as well. Chris, any other things that I should note? I've highlighted some.
Those are the big ones. Yeah, those are the big ones. There's a lot of fixes and quality of life features and stability but you got the big ones.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, well, I hope everybody is excited as I am for release 4.3. I'm actually going to be having some virtual reality classes this fall. Usually I run a couple more virtual reality classes, studying virtual reality, and Engage is such an amazing tool, and it's just the tool that we go with every single time because it's so reliable. It has the features that we need in an educational and more specifically in an academic environment, a higher ed environment. So I'm very, very excited about that. And special thank you to Chris. Just want to give a round of applause to Chris as well for going into detail about these features. There's going to be a lot of curiosities. There's going to be a lot of testing, but congratulations to you, Chris. Congratulations to Engage on this massive release and the continued release and thriving nature of Engage. So thank you so much again, Chris. And Tom, I want to say it is so great to see you. As always, you have some news, some things that you wanted to share for the show today. And what did you want to talk about?
First of all, Tom, do you want to switch to your Engage space, or do you want to stay here?
Well, this is the first time I've ever done a talk in a coral reef.
Okay,
You know,
all right, we'll
it's
make it
pretty
happen.
cool, don't you think? Yeah,
Yeah.
we can do it
Very
here.
cool. Very cool.
Do we have some? Are my slides loaded in, or do I just talk about them?
We're working on it. We're ready for a move to another space. So here comes the slide
Oh,
screen,
look at this!
and we're
I mean,
working on
yeah,
it.
yeah. All right.
Beautiful.
How about that? Okay. Big Engage. Isn't Engage wonderful? And Chris is wonderful. All you guys are wonderful.
That's such a cool logo.
So as you probably guys know that I started the Virtual World Society quite a time ago, and it's going great. And Alvin Graylin is the chairman of the board of the Virtual World Society, and I'm an emeritus on the board. I was the founder, and I've been sort of working since that time, trying to figure out where we should go with this technology, especially when it has to do with how we can unlock the capability we have within us. If we go to the next slide, before we leave this slide, go back to the last slide. I had the opportunity at AWE back in June in Long Beach to make an announcement of a new organization that is sort of a daughter organization of the Virtual World Society we call Luminara, Institute of Light. And so you guys are getting sort of the first news about this kind of thing. Okay, next slide. So after I sort of stepped down as the chairman of the board of the Virtual World Society, I started working on this futures thing. And you guys have heard me talk about this before. And the idea of the futures, it morphed into how in the world do we solve the problems of our age? And using some of the technology we have today. And it became clear that we weren't smart enough to do that, that we ran into this roadblock. And along with what Albert Einstein said, you can't expect to solve the problems today using the same technology that created those problems to begin with. So we felt that we had to start another way of thinking. And as we started thinking about what kind of individual could solve those kind of problems, we realized when we started putting the attributes into this person or these people, we realized what we were talking about is transcendence, and that we already have the capability to do those things. We just have to learn to use what we already have. So at that point, I launched what was last year what we call the Light School. The Light School is sort of a flight school for ourselves, for our souls. And with that, we decided we were going to start working on how to develop these attributes, these pathways to transcendence. As we went along, we realized, let's go to the next slide. We realized that there's a real problem with calling ourselves a school, because when you're a school, you're really limited in the kinds of things that you can actually use to raise money. schools get a bad rap. And so we're looking at the way we're doing it, where we're doing research and we're developing new technology and this whole new way of communicating, what we call lumina lingua, a new language that it transcends the spoken language we have now. How do we build these worlds and these simulations to help train the capabilities we have, and having to do with unconditional love and radical creativity and so forth. And the and the final step was actually going out and doing it, because you can't learn to swim until you jump into the water. And to go out and now help others learn how to do it. All of these things would fit into this school idea. Well, the next slide this is putting your eggs all in one basket. So the next slide says, wait a minute. Each one of these things we're doing a lot of research. We're working on this lumina lingua. All of these things, in addition to the school, are avenues for us to gain funding and support to do that. So what we decided to do is change our name, or what we're trying to do, from a school into an Institute of Light, of which the school is a major part. Next slide. So we started Luminara Lingua, and I announced it again last few weeks ago. And the mission is, back to remember the pathways I mentioned, to illuminate the path of human becoming. Becoming doesn't have a period there. We're continuing to grow through transformative technologies, research, experiences, and communities that help humanity awaken, grow in light, and uplift one another. It's awakening capabilities that we already have, we just don't know it. And if you notice, the symbol of holding up the child to the light is actually a variation of the original Virtual World Society logo. Next slide. So the things that we wanted to do with following this pathway of what are the attributes of a transcendent being, we realized there were a bunch of things that we needed to be working on. But we want to start off with these two things you see at the top: connection, and unconditional love. And we're actually doing projects in these areas right now. How in the world do we connect? Because you can't love anybody until you connect with them. That's including yourself, loving yourself. Who are you? How am I connected to myself? What are the capabilities I have? How can I use training wheels to develop those things? Anyhow, we're starting down this list. Next slide. So one of the big things that we're trying to build is a super cockpit for the soul. Now, this is just a notional picture of that, thanks to ChatGPT, but it contains the elements that we're trying to develop. The idea of a cockpit for a soul is like my super cockpit that I built for the Air Force many years ago, and which is now flying in the F-35 Lightning. I know how to build cockpits, and what we need is a cockpit for the soul. And this is going to take into account a lot of new instrumentation that's measuring what's going on inside of us. Some radically new instrumentation we haven't had yet, including using hyperspectral imaging to derive our inner radiance and our countenance, and what we call applied kinesiology coming from inside, as well as the way we interact to the outside. This is just everything crammed together. This is not what it's going to look like. It's going to look a lot better than this. And it will be accomplished through these new technologies that we're not only working on, the sensors, hardware technology, but in actually using things like Engage as a means for delivering this and going on these adventures that we'll be doing in this super cockpit. Now, the next slide is just the other thing is that it's clear that our language doesn't work anymore. We don't really communicate very well because the words we use are ambiguous in many cases. But there's some things that aren't ambiguous. For example, we can tell if a person's sad or happy just by looking at them. And using a combination of vision and audition and tactile and other sensory capabilities and perceptual capabilities, we want to build a whole new way of communicating. And we're doing that with what we call heart beaming, where we're beginning to learn how to connect with each other and how to use that as a language that transcends what we have today. These are just two of the things: the language of light and sound, unifying all life in harmony. Next step. Next slide. So I get this talk that I gave when I announced Luminara is actually, you can find it. Just go Google YouTube all 2026 Tom Furness and you'll find this. And it's a 25-minute talk that I give with lots of other details about what we're trying to accomplish. And the next slide is how you can get involved yourself. Just go to our website, luminara.institute. Luminara.institute. And you'll find out, it's sort of in construction, but sign up so you can get the newsletter and get involved. We now have 100 people that are involved in working on these projects. And these are mainly volunteers, but we would like for you to get involved if you want to be. So that's my last slide, and let me tell you, it's really exciting. And to be working with the amazing people. We have physicians, we have artists, we have opera stars, we have audio people, we have film people, film directors. One film director has done 9 major Hollywood movies, and they're all part of the team. So we have such diversity in the creative pursuit, all these pioneers. So do you have any questions that I can answer before we leave? I think we're running out of time. And Kurt, I guess we're going to see you on Friday, right?
You are. You are going to see us on Friday, and you're very brave. We'll somewhere about 5 hours before we meet, Engage will transform into Super AI Power Engage, and hopefully we'll have some characters ready, and then the same for Sunday. But we'll have a nice adventure, and you'll see incredible light over there. So
fantastic. And thanks again also to Laurel for all that she's done to help us over the years. And certainly Educators in VR is near to my heart, and to see how it's grown and all the folks, wonderful folks that are involved in it. So thank you, Laurel, for all that you've done for us too. So that's it for me.
Okay, thank you. I believe that is Maxwell. No, Maxwell, you're still here.
Yeah,
Yay! Any last beautiful words before we wrap this down?
I just want to say thank
Tom.
you to everybody. Yes, thank you so much, Tom Furness, Dr. Tom Furness, for coming by and sharing this beautiful news. Thank you, everybody, for coming by for the show. Thank you to Dr. Walker. Thank you to Chris Madsen. Thank you to the Educators in VR team for coming by for this great show. Once again, release 4.3 is coming out on Friday. So let's get psyched. Let's experiment. Let's, you know what, Chris isn't here, so I can say this. Let's break Engage so that they can fix it over and over. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming to the show. Laurel, over to you.
Oh, thank you. This is one of my favorite things. I absolutely love the third Wednesday of every month to bring together these 3 amazing pioneers, Chris Madsen, Maxwell, McGee, and Dr. Tom Furness. Y'all are just, you blow our minds all the time. And I want to thank Dr. Ryan Walker. I think you're still here, but either way, whether you are or not, we love you. Thank you so much. This is amazing. What an incredible experience. And this is what we at Educators in VR and XR News is all about, is really looking at how can we transform lives through education and beyond. And this is just a prime example. So I want to thank you to our beautiful hosts and remind everyone that we meet on every Wednesday right here in the beautiful Engage XR. I want to remind everyone else, we've done this for many years, we take August off because it's just too damn hot. And right now it's very too damn hot. As my office and many of the rest of people who work here, because we also have a real world experience we have to pay attention to, is boiling. And so August is pretty brutal. I want to make sure that all of you, especially now as the smoke is filtering all over the East Coast, please be safe. That's coming down from Canada. Please be safe. Please stay cool. And we will see you all in September. And you can watch all of the videos and everything that we do on our YouTube channel and follow along on all our social media. So thank you all for being here. We love this.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Laurel.
Yeah, I'm Laurel,
Thanks.
Director of Educators of VR. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Laurel.
Thanks, Maxwell. Yay. Now we have Stance with Trees. Do your thing.
We did a thing!
Yay!
All right.